Hey guys, welcome back to Tony Talks Cards. My name is Tony, and yep, we're talking cards again. Back with I guess it's going to be second full installment of a review of one of my Topps football sets I collected when I was younger. Did 1980 Topps last week, so next up has to be 1981 Topps football. This is the set that, of course, brought us Joe Montana's rookie card. That rookie definitely carries the set. Definitely other stars of the 80s and 90s have rookies as well we'll go through. But the 81 Montana definitely is the big dollar card. 528 cards in the set, so a pretty big set. But again, Topps had that number, I think, back to 1973 and would keep that until 1982. So a lot of cards. I think a pack may have had 15 or 16 cards in it. So times 36 packs, you'd get roughly 500 plus cards, of course, with duplicates and probably triplicates in there too. So you wouldn't need probably more than a full box to try to piece this one together. But for me personally, I bought the set similar to how I bought the 80 top set. Parents bought it for me, and I bought it, card by card, nickel by nickel, based on chore money, allowance money, holiday money, birthday money, things like that. And again, among those nickel and dime cards was the Joe Montana rookie. And again, I probably got that in 1987, 88. So he had won some Super Bowls by that time too. But again, a slow and steady march to get to 528 cards, given how many there were, and the cost of the set probably at the time. But never opened a pack, never bought a pack, just bought it, card by card from the full set. So kind of missed out on that search for Montana back in 81 or 82, but still tons of memories. So like the 80 top set, I went back and looked through my old binders, original pages. I got the cards in, and honestly, I haven't looked through this set in so many years. I didn't remember some of the people, some of the commons, some of the subsets, and just some quirkiness that I found that I'll talk about here the next few minutes here. So kind of fun to see it with almost fresh eyes, despite having the set for 35 plus years. It's kind of a cool walk down memory lane. So start by showing some of the rookies, some stories behind them, and then even some of the lesser known folks that gave me a few things to scratch my head about too, as you'll see. So first off, let's go and find this here. This is the Montana rookie. This is the original one from that set. Again, like any of these, I'm not going to get them graded, not going to get them slabbed. I mean, they're probably all decently centered, maybe in that kind of 6 to 7 range PSA wise. But again, nice looking card here. The next rookie, and not in any specific order around importance or favorite player, but again, just who I kind of pulled from my set. Art Monk. I think he had about 12,000 yards, give or take, when he retired, and may have been one of the top leading receivers in terms of yards and receptions. I think when he retired in the 90s, but I didn't have a chance to look all that up yet right now. But his rookie is there too. Another receiver, Kellen Winslow, tight end for the Chargers, all pro there too on his rookie card. Turning ourselves to Bears, of course, which me being a Bears fan, got to find those Bears too. Dan Hampton, defensive lineman for the Bears, Hall of Famer, got his rookie card here in 1981. And then the Bears team checklist, so the team leaders from 1980 again, of course, Walter Payton right here at the top, rushing leader, but then Dan Hampton at the bottom here as well, with 11 and a half sacks, at least in 1980. So cool seeing that. And again, like I've talked about before, um, again, no Bear logo on, no logos for any of these really, besides the Browns, which would have been just a clean brown helmet. So there you go. And again, like my prior videos, as I got the cards, of course, nickel by nickel, dollar by dollar, there's the checklist, all being checked off because, of course, I'm a completist, love building sets and checking things off. So there you go, 1980 team leaders checked off. Talked about Hampton. Again, a few more here. You've got Dwight Clark, the receiver on the famous catch that Joe Montana threw against the Cowboys pre-82 Super Bowl, I think it was, his rookie card there. You've got, a kicker. So Eddie Murray, I remember collecting a lot of this guy's cards because he was in like every set. And I looked him up. He played until 2000. I didn't realize he played almost 18 or 19 seasons. most of which with the Lions, some with the Chiefs. I think maybe the Vikings may have been there near the very end too, but he had a ton of points. I mean, I looked at the top 20 scoring leaders in NFL history, and I would say he's not even on there. But looking at his points total and how many folks on that list, the top 20 list, are from like the last 20 years, he may have actually retired in 2000, being like in the top five of all time points scored. You got George Blanda, of course, who played, from 19, I think 49 to 75, and I think he was near the top at that point too, having both thrown touchdowns and kicked field goals. So again, this guy again, lots of Lions and other teams are in the 80s and 90s. Interestingly, I looked at his stats from 19, I think 88 and 89 with the Lions. He had a 95% field goal percentage completion. So made 96% almost of his field goals in those 2 years. And I think what is his career high there at that point too. So interesting there about him, his rookie card too. You've got Mark Gastineau, again, part of, I think it was the New York Sack Exchange with Joe Klecko and some others in the early 80s, I believe it was. So he's in there too. And so those are the rookies, I think, that I found. There's, of course, lots of other rookies who maybe had one card or maybe had a minor, small career. But again, those are the ones I pulled out for this session here. Next, of course, you have to show friend Walter Payton, NFC All Pro. Just like look at that card. Straight ahead looking at him, got the 34 showing again. Can't see the C on the helmet, of course, but still All Pro. The bold red, the yellow and red down here. Nice looking card there too. Then again, he had his super action card. Now, I saw this and was kind of curious because this is number 202 in the set. Looks like he's running against the Buccaneers there too. But I hadn't noticed in 1980 there was no super action in action. It was all record breakers, team cards, checklists, things like that. But didn't have these. And looking back at it, 1981 seems to be the first set since maybe 1972, so 10 years earlier, where they were. This was the first year having super action, in action, action cards of some of the main players. And of course, 82 had action cards as well. Lawrence Taylor, Ronnie Lott, rookie cards had kind of 1A, 1B of action cards too with them in that same rookie year. So kind of funny to look at this too, that, there's about maybe 20, 25 of these in the set, but they weren't there in 1980. Didn't notice that till literally today. And secondly, too, I look at this and I never thought about this too. The super action cards here, if you look at the set in pages, kind of flip page by page, card by card, the super action cards are actually in alphabetical order, meaning the first guy who's shown, I think it was William Andrews from the Falcons, the running back. He's the first in action card. The second one, like 25 cards later, was Steve Bartkowski. And so on and so forth. They went A, B, C, D. It was like I never noticed it, but it was all alphabetical. But then at number 202, Walter Payton showed up. And they were only in like the H's or the G's by this card. But he was number P. He was P, which didn't make any sense to me. And I looked at the next card and it picked right back up again with like I's and J's and K's and L's. But this is the only card I believe, and someone can check me in the comments if I'm wrong, that is out of order, but all the other ones are literally alphabetical by last name. I never saw that until I flipped through pages here 37 some years later, 35 years later after I built the set to notice that. So kind of a cool, odd thing. Not sure why Peyton got in there by himself, but again, I'll take it. It's a Bears card, so that's cool. I missed Phil Simms in the last video for 1980 Topps. Didn't have his rookie card available at the time, so there's his second year card, Phil Simms. And then I think Brian Sipe. I think he was the AFC MVP, or at least the passing leader, I believe, in 1982. So he's got that All Pro card there as well. Now, the one thing a second kind of thing I hadn't realized is that in 1980 and 1981, there are these cards, right? There's, passing leaders, sack leaders, punting leaders, scoring leaders. But there were no rushing leader cards. There were no rushing leader insert cards in 1980 or 81. But they had them in earlier years. I know they did. I saw Peyton on some of them. In 1978, I want to say maybe Earl Campbell was on 79's rushing leader card. But there was no rushing leader in 80 or 81, the card for that. So I looked up, and Earl Campbell led the league in 1980 in rushing yards. Had almost 2,000 yards. I had no idea because, again, I think I talked about this in an earlier video. He only had that one card, so I didn't realize as a kid he had like a 6, 7 year career. So I wonder if maybe there was no rushing leaders card in 1980 and 81 because of Earl. I don't know if it was a contract dispute, a tops dispute, a picture to be used. I don't know the history of that. Someone probably does in the comments who can correct me on that. But I wonder if because they couldn't get Earl Campbell to be on a card, and even though Peyton was the NFC rushing leader, I think, they just scrapped the rushing leader card entirely. I That's kind of my thought, but kind of curious given, passing, rushing, receiving, that's like the top big three things people look for, and yet these two sets didn't have anything. But what they did have, and I guess 1980 had one too, they have, like I showed, a quarterback sacks leader card. Now, sacks weren't an official statistic from my research until 1982. But yet the 1980 and 81 Topps football sets showed the sack leaders from 1979 and 1980, respectively, on their own card. So Topps kept track of sacks, but the NFL statistics didn't at that time. So kind of funny there, too. But again, Gary Johnson and Al Bubba Baker here with sack leader cards. So kind of cool there, too. And then speaking about our friend Al Baker, I thought his super action card was pretty cool. There's him probably finishing up one of those sacks against the Buccaneers there. So there you go. Now talking more about Earl Campbell, I looked at, well, let's see, is there something to that story? Maybe it was his holdout, contract issue, Topps, photos, who knows what it was. Let's look at the Oilers team card from 1981 Topps. And lo and behold, maybe this is why I think this could be the answer. 81 Topps. You've got a receiving leader, you've got interceptions leader, you've got sacks leaders, again, not even an official NFL statistic in 1981 or 80 yet, and then punt returns. You would think right here, you'd have a rushing leader right there and a photo of Earl Campbell, given he led the league, let alone the Oilers. But again, maybe they couldn't post his photo, and there it was, just the punt return guy got some love, not the rushing leader. So again, kind of funny there with those cards. As we talked about, again, we're still in the airbrushing era, 1981 Topps. So we've got our friend Steve DeBerg, who, looks like a Peyton, looks like a Montana rookie, just the way it's kind of laid out there. But of course, it's not Montana. But again, no Niners logo. A quarterback, had a long career in the NFL, but Montana would soon take over there. Got Jim Hart, longtime quarterback for the Cardinals, back to the 60s was his rookie card. Again, no Cardinal on the side there. Buccaneer, blank helmet, Colt, blank helmet, and another 49er just because it looks kind of the same as the other uniform, background, helmet kind of combo there is Montana and DeBerg. So again, kind of boring, but again, had I think one more year, or maybe 82 was the first year, I forget. But either way, nothing showing in the helmets there. Found a couple cool glasses photos. There's this guy, Chuck Muncie, seemed to always have some glasses on, whether his helmet was on or off in the 80s. Yeah, Joe Lavender, looking nice with the shades on the sidelines there for the Redskins. And then this was, I think, the last playing days base card for Bob Griese there with his black glasses on there. Back of the card showing back to 1967. A good long career for him and the Dolphins. This card I just had to show because I thought it was kind of interesting. Must have been a really cold day in New York or wherever he was, and got to do something to keep your hands warm, right? So there you go there. And a few cards of players who had long careers for other teams, and their last couple of years they played with some unique, different teams. So like was shown on the Oilers team card, Jack Tatum, again, had a long career with the Raiders. Chuck Foreman, better known as with the Vikings, here with the Patriots. John Cappelletti played with the Rams before this. Garo Yepremian, again known for his Dolphin days with Bob Griese and many others, including that 1972 perfect season Super Bowl, I believe it was, again with the Buccaneers here. And then last but not least, Craig Morton. Now, Craig Morton played with several teams, including the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Broncos. I think it was in the Broncos Super Bowl as well. several years before this. But again, good long career. And actually, I think he had one card in 82, maybe, still to come out. And his stats go back to 1965 with the Cowboys. Last but not least, I didn't grow up watching football in 81. I didn't collect in 81. And I didn't have NFL films, and some of these people didn't have YouTube to watch and highlights, and usually the punters and kickers weren't the people who were talked about the most. So some of the punters and kickers from these teams, I don't know how to pronounce their names. I didn't watch them. I never heard an announcer say their names. I have no clue how to say their names. So I just brought a few of these cards up to kind of show, and maybe I'll just say their first name and we'll go from there. So again, Russell with the Saints. We had maybe Uwe with the Dolphins there. We had Rolf, several European sounding last names and first names with the Chargers. And then, here, I'll stick this one next. This was not an uncommon name. This was kind of the exact opposite of that. The Patriots kicker John Smith. I just thought it was funny that, again, John Smith's probably one of those most common names in the US in all history. And probably name of someone you may have found who came over on the Mayflower. I mean, with the Pilgrims. I mean, just John Smith is such an English basic sounding name. And he played for the Patriots. And his home is in Foxborough, of course, where the Patriots, played. And I didn't know this till right now. He was actually born in England. So look at that, a very common quote unquote American name, born in England, playing for the Patriots, kind of a interesting little tidbit I didn't know till just right now when I looked at the back of that card. So there you go. And last but not least, really, this is a rookie card too, Johnny Lamb Jones. So nothing special about him for me personally, per se, from a player perspective. I never watched him play, but it's a rookie card. But his 1986 Topps card with the Jets was one of those first cards I got in like a Scholastic book fair, send $5, get, 10 cards and some pages when I was like in second grade. I always wondered, what the heck does that mean? Lamb, like Johnny Jones, Lamb. I don't see the alliteration, the connection. What does that mean? On the back of this card, his rookie card, it says, the nickname Lamb is from Johnny's hometown of Lampasas, Texas. Learn something new every day. So there you go. Obviously, the 81 Topps set has Montana to be its flagship card. Makes unopened packs, unopened boxes. Really expensive to try to find that one card. Unfortunately, I wish I could buy a box for less than what they're going for now on some auction sites and eBay. But that one card does hold up. 4 Super Bowl rings for Montana, of course, is not a shabby thing either. So I hope you enjoyed this walk down 1981 Topps memory lane. And I'll be back next week with an 82 Topps video. But in the meantime, I've got some other reveal videos set to go with some unopened packs, graded packs I've gotten back, and also my additional foray into vintage baseball slabs. Hall of Fame Cubs, Hall of Fame players from the 60s and 70s and 50s. Got a bunch coming in the mail later this week, and I'll show those off when I get enough of those in. So until next time, talk to you later, and let me know if you have any comments, questions, thoughts, observations. Love to have you like, subscribe to the channel. I put out about 3 or 4 videos a week. Love to interact and talk more. So until next time, have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.